Money is a magnifier. It won't make you smarter, but it will expose your habits. If you waste a little, you'll waste a lot. If you invest wisely when you have less, you'll multiply when you have more. Most people dream of 1,000,000 without mastering 100. But wealth doesn't respond to dreams, it responds to discipline. The journey from $100K to $1 million isn't a miracle of luck, it's a mirror of behavior. You don't need a new economy, you need a new identity. Money doesn't change you, it exposes you. It magnifies your habits, your patience, your vision, and your fears. That's why the first $100K is the hardest, because it's not about numbers, it's about nature. It's about developing the character that can attract, manage, and multiply wealth. The moment you treat money with discipline, it begins to grow. The moment you treat it with emotion, it begins to escape. So before you earn your first million, you must first earn your maturity. When I first started, I thought the secret to wealth was to work harder, longer, faster, but I learned soon enough that the marketplace doesn't pay you for effort, it pays you for value. It's not the hours that count, it's what you put inside those hours that makes the difference. A man can work 12 hours a day and stay broke, while another works 6 and becomes wealthy. Why? Because one trades time, the other trades value. Money grows where value flows. If you want to earn more, you must first become more. You can't draw out of life what you haven't yet put in. When I was young, I met a mentor who changed my entire perspective. He said, "Don't wish it were easier, wish you were better." I didn't quite understand it at first. I thought opportunity was something you chased, not something you attracted. But the truth is, the marketplace rewards the valuable. It's a mirror that reflects back the worth of what you offer. You don't have to chase success when you become the kind of person success is looking for. So instead of spending my little income on things to look successful, I started investing it in things that would make me successful. I took a portion of every dollar I earned and bought books instead of gadgets, seminars instead of luxuries, tools instead of toys. At first, it didn't feel glamorous. I remember sitting in small hotel conference rooms, learning from people who had already walked the path. Every note I took, every new idea I absorbed was a seed. Those seeds later became the trees that shaded my financial future. You see, your first $100K should not be a celebration, it should be a foundation. Most people use it to decorate their life. The rich use it to design their future. When you focus on value, you stop asking, "How much can I make?" and start asking, "How much can I contribute?" The moment you shift that question, everything changes. The marketplace will always pay you exactly what it thinks you're worth, no more, no less. So if you don't like what you're earning, don't curse the market, change the value. Add more skill, more insight, more creativity. Learn how to solve bigger problems for more people. That's where wealth hides, in usefulness. And here's the key. Reinvest in yourself even after you start to earn more. Too many people let their growth stop when their income starts. But your skills, your mindset, and your discipline, those are your greatest assets. They don't depreciate unless you neglect them. The first $100K is not your reward, it's your responsibility. Use it to build the systems, the habits, and the character that can multiply it into 1,000,000. When I earned my first 100,000, I thought I'd made it. I remember sitting there, looking at the number in my account, and feeling like the game was over. But it wasn't over, it had just begun. That first $100,000 isn't a finish line, it's a doorway. It's not your trophy, it's your test. The marketplace will let you earn money once by chance, but to keep it and multiply it, that takes philosophy, patience, and self-control. You see, making money is a skill, but keeping it is a discipline. And most people fail that second test. I've watched people make their first big sum and immediately start celebrating as if wealth is a reward for work rather than a responsibility for wisdom. They buy the car, upgrade the house, take the vacation. They let lifestyle inflate faster than their net worth. And before long, they're back where they started, except now they have payments instead of progress. The rich think differently. They understand that the first $100K is not for spending, it's for shaping. It's where you prove to yourself that you can manage money without letting money manage you. When I began to change my habits, I made a rule for myself. No matter how much I earned, I'd keep 70% and live on 30%. That wasn't easy in the beginning. My old habits wanted to spend every dollar. But I learned something powerful. Discipline weighs ounces. Regret weighs tons. Living below your means doesn't mean living without joy. It means giving your future a chance to breathe. It means proving that you can delay pleasure long enough to build freedom. That first 100,000 is your training ground. Think of it as seed capital for the garden of your future. You don't eat your seeds, you plant them. Every dollar has potential, but only if you protect it from impulse. When you start treating money like a tool instead of a toy, it begins to multiply for you. The goal isn't to show people what you earned, it's to prepare for what's coming next. Because if you can't manage small money, big money will only magnify your mistakes. I often tell people, don't ask how much can I buy with this? Ask, how much can this become if I let it grow? That one shift in perspective changes everything. It turns consumption into creation, income into investment. Wealth is not built by how much you make, it's built by how much you keep working for you. So treat that first 100,000 with respect. Guard it, grow it, and learn from it. Because the habits you form at that stage will echo through every stage that follows. Don't see it as a trophy to polish, see it as a test to pass. If you can manage your first 100,000 with discipline and wisdom, the next million won't be a mystery, it will be inevitable. If money grows where value flows, then your task is simple. Become the river, not the rock. Let your value move freely. Touch lives, solve problems, and watch how wealth begins to follow quietly and faithfully in its current. When I first began to understand wealth, I realized something crucial. Most people are taught to protect money, not to grow it. They treat money like something fragile, something that needs to be locked away and kept safe. But money that sits still begins to die slowly. Inflation eats at it, opportunity passes it by, and fear keeps it frozen. The rich see money differently. They don't guard it like treasure. They send it out like a worker. They understand that every dollar has a job to do, and that job is to multiply. See, the poor and middle class focus on maintaining what they have because they're afraid of losing it. The rich, on the other hand, are focused on movement. They know that money, just like energy, grows when it circulates. When money flows through the right channels, through investments, through business, through value creation, it comes back larger and stronger. When it sits idle, it stagnates. That's why the goal isn't to save for the sake of saving, it's to save for the sake of scaling. When I was young, I made the mistake of thinking that the safest place for my money was in a savings account. It felt good to see the numbers stay the same every month. But after a while I realized something unsettling. My money wasn't growing, it was shrinking in power. The cost of living went up, opportunities passed by, and I was falling behind while thinking I was being smart. That was a hard lesson. I learned that safety is not found in storage, it's found in strategy. So I began studying compounding, what Einstein called the eighth wonder of the world. And I understood why. Compounding is not just a financial principle, it's a life principle. Small things done consistently grow into something extraordinary over time. Whether it's money, habits, or knowledge, the process is the same. You plant, you nurture, you wait, and then one day you wake up to a forest where once there was a seed. That's how the rich think about money. Instead of withdrawing returns for quick pleasure, they reinvest. Instead of cashing out, they compound. They let time and discipline work together to create exponential results. They don't chase big wins, they chase consistent growth. You don't need to double your money overnight, you need to give it a purpose and the patience to multiply. So, take what you have and set it in motion. Buy shares of ownership in something that grows, a business, real estate, or even your own skill set. Every dollar should have a direction, every investment a reason. Don't aim to maintain your wealth, aim to multiply it. Because money that just sits doesn't serve you, but money that moves, compounds, and creates value will one day set you free. The goal isn't just to have money, it's to make it work harder than you do. There comes a point in life when you realize that no matter how hard you work, there will always be a limit to what your time can earn. You can push yourself for 16 hours a day, but there are still only 24 hours in one. The body tires, the mind fades, and even the most disciplined among us can only give so much. The wealthy understand this truth deeply. They know that wealth isn't built by working harder, it's built by designing systems that work even when they don't. You see, a system doesn't sleep, doesn't complain, and doesn't ask for weekends off. It performs with quiet consistency, turning discipline into automation and effort into freedom. I remember the first time I realized how powerful systems were. I had been working tirelessly, saving every penny I could, managing every expense manually. But there were too many moving parts, too many opportunities for emotion to interfere with logic. Then one of my mentors said something that changed everything. If you depend on motivation, you'll succeed sometimes. If you depend on systems, you'll succeed always. I took that advice to heart. I began automating my savings. Every week, a portion of my income went directly into investments before I could even touch it. No decisions, no temptations, just quiet, consistent progress. And over time, those small automated moves turned into major financial growth. Systems are the secret to wealth because they replace willpower with structure. The poor depend on discipline, the rich depend on design. When your savings happen automatically, when your investments grow without your constant attention, and when your income streams are diversified and self-sustaining, that's when freedom begins. Imagine royalties from a book, income from a rental property, or revenue from a digital course. These are systems that continue to serve you while you rest. The goal isn't to escape work entirely, it's to make your work build engines that keep running. Automation also protects you from emotional decisions. You won't spend what you never see, and you won't neglect what happens automatically. Most people lose money not because they lack intelligence, but because they lack structure. They make emotional choices in moments of excitement or fear, but systems don't feel emotions, they follow logic. And in wealth building, logic always wins over impulse. I learned that reviewing my finances quarterly, not daily, gave me clarity without chaos. I wasn't micromanaging every transaction. I was managing direction, not detail. And that's what systems allow you to do. Step back and watch your financial garden grow without having to water each leaf by hand. So, build systems that enforce your vision, Let your money move before you do. Let technology serve your goals. Let automation replace hesitation. Because the day your systems start working harder than you, that's the day your time becomes truly your own. And when time becomes your ally, freedom is no longer a dream, it's a result. The moment you begin building wealth, you must learn one sacred rule. Protect the principle, respect the process. You see, getting rich is not a game of luck, it's a discipline of patience. Most people lose not because they don't make money, but because they fail to keep it. They get seduced by speed, blinded by opportunity, and soon their seed, the very foundation of their wealth, is gone. The rich think differently. They understand that money is a servant, not a thrill, and that wealth grows quietly, not quickly. I often tell people, don't be in such a hurry to double your money that you lose it. Early in my career, I met a man who made $100,000 in a single year for the first time. He was excited, full of confidence, and ready to make his money work for him. So he poured it all into a friend's startup, no due diligence, no research, just enthusiasm. Within 6 months, the business collapsed, and the entire amount was gone. It wasn't the loss that hurt him most, it was the lesson. He had confused ambition with wisdom. That experience taught me something. Money doesn't grow in the hands of the impatient. The wealthy treat their capital like a farmer treats seed. They don't throw it just anywhere hoping something grows. They choose the soil carefully, they water consistently, and they wait. They understand that the seed is sacred, it represents opportunity, discipline, and the right to grow more. The process, however slow, is what builds strength. When you respect the process of compounding, when you let time, not emotion, drive your decisions, you become unstoppable, because the process doesn't just grow your money, it grows you. Every dollar you earn is a soldier. Your job is to deploy it wisely, not recklessly. You don't send all your troops into battle on a rumor. You plan, you prepare, and you protect your forces. That's what risk management is about. Before you invest, study. Learn about the asset, the business, the people behind it. Ask yourself, if this goes wrong, can I survive it? The rich never bet the farm, they plant the field. When you focus on protecting your principal, you develop the emotional control that separates investors from speculators. You start seeing through the noise, the hype, the trends, the promises of overnight success. The truth is, fast money leaves as quickly as it comes. Smart money compounds quietly, consistently, and predictably. So before you chase the next big thing, remember, your job is not just to earn money, it's to preserve it, respect it, and multiply it with wisdom. Because the process of wealth is not about speed, it's about sustainability. And when you learn to protect your principle and respect the process, wealth will no longer be a chase, it will be a certainty. One of the greatest tests of wealth isn't how much you earn, it's how much you can delay. Build cash flow before comfort. That's a principle that separates those who taste wealth from those who keep it. See, most people want to look rich before they are rich. The car, the watch, the big house, they call it success. But the truth is, if your luxuries come before your assets, you've built a lifestyle, not wealth. Luxury should be the fruit of assets, not the enemy of them. The rich understand that freedom must always come before comfort. I remember a young man who came to me once, proud as can be. He had made his first 6 figures and he said, now I'm finally going to reward myself, I've earned it. I said, that depends. Have you earned freedom or just the illusion of it? He looked at me confused. I explained, if your money stops and your life stops with it, you're not free yet. You're just comfortable for a moment. You see, comfort bought too early becomes a cage, It keeps you from doing the hard work that real wealth requires. The rich buy freedom first. They invest until their money begins to work harder than they do. They don't spend the fruit before the tree grows strong. Cash flow is that tree, the foundation of lasting wealth. It's what allows you to sleep while your income still flows, to rest while your assets work. When you build cash flow first, every luxury that follows becomes sweeter, because it's paid for by freedom, not debt. Now, how do you build that? Simple, but not easy. You start by investing in assets that pay you: real estate, dividends, digital systems, royalties, businesses. You make sure your passive income covers your basic expenses before you indulge in anything extra. That's the discipline of the wealthy. Every dollar you spend should either feed you once or feed you forever. And if it only feeds you once, make sure it's worth the trade. Here's what happens when you live this way. Your priorities shift. You stop chasing appearances and start chasing autonomy. You begin asking better questions like, will this purchase make me free or keep me tied to the next paycheck? Will this choice expand my income or just inflate my ego? Those are the questions that lead to wealth. The poor spend to escape pressure, the rich invest to escape dependence. The poor use money to look strong, the rich use it to become strong. That's the difference. Freedom before comfort, always. Because here's the secret. Comfort built on cash flow lasts. Comfort built on income fades. The car, the clothes, the applause, all temporary. But financial independence, that's permanent. So, hold off on the luxury until your assets can pay for it. Let your cash flow buy your comfort. That's how you build wealth that doesn't just look good, it lasts. Partner with power, not popularity. That's one of the most important lessons you'll ever learn about wealth. The people around you are either lifting you or limiting you. Your environment is a silent force. It can shape your habits, your mindset, and eventually your bank account. I've often said you become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. That's not philosophy, that's reality. If you walk with thinkers, you'll learn to think. If you walk with spenders, you'll learn to spend. Poverty is contagious, but so is prosperity. When I was a young man, I worked for a man named Earl Schoaf. He wasn't just rich in money, he was rich in philosophy. Every conversation with him elevated me. He didn't tell me what to do with my paycheck. He told me what to do with my potential. He'd say, don't just chase opportunity, attract it by becoming better. That one idea changed my life. And I realized you don't just learn from books, you learn from people who are living the principles you admire. That's what I mean by partnering with power. You see, too many people surround themselves with agreement, not growth. They stay in circles that comfort their habits instead of challenging them. The rich do the opposite. They seek rooms where they feel small, because smallness in the right room becomes growth. When you sit with builders, you start thinking like one. When you listen to investors, you start valuing money differently. You begin to see opportunity where others see risk, and discipline where others see denial. So ask yourself, who are you learning from? Who are you listening to? Who are you becoming because of them? If your circle only talks about entertainment, gossip, or the latest purchase, you're stuck in the wrong economy, the economy of distraction. But if your circle talks about ideas, strategies, and value creation, you're building an economy of wealth. Join a mastermind. Sit with people who are one step ahead. Study those who've built what you dream about. Don't look for popularity, look for productivity. Some of the best mentors aren't loud, but they're wise. They may not impress the crowd, but they'll impress your future. And here's the test. If you leave a conversation drained, you've been entertained. If you leave a conversation inspired, you've been educated. Choose the second. Trade envy for education. Instead of resenting those who have more, learn how they think. Ask what they did differently. Most people won't, and that's why most people stay where they are. Partnerships and environments are multipliers. One right connection can accelerate your growth more than years of solo effort. So, be intentional about who you let influence your thinking. Because wealth isn't just built by action, it's built by association. Surround yourself with power, not popularity, and you'll find that success stops being accidental. It becomes inevitable. Think legacy, not just lifestyle. That's the real mark of the wealthy. Most people spend their lives chasing comfort, but the rich, the truly wise, chase continuity. They understand that wealth isn't about how much you can hold, it's about how much continues after you're gone. You see, lifestyle ends when you do, but legacy keeps speaking long after your voice has gone silent. The poor think about the weekend. The middle class thinks about the next few years, but the rich, they think in generations. I remember once meeting a man who built a small business that became a large one. He told me, when I started, I wanted to make a living. But somewhere along the way, I realized I wanted to make a difference. That shift from living to giving, from spending to sustaining, that's when his real wealth began. Because wealth, when handled right, becomes a river, not a reservoir. It doesn't stop with you, it flows through you. When you begin thinking legacy, your decisions change. You stop asking, what can I buy? And start asking, what can I build? You stop measuring success by possessions and start measuring it by impact. You begin to see your wealth not as a pile to sit on, but as a platform to stand on, a means to lift others. That's when money becomes meaningful. Because money without mission is just numbers. But money with purpose, that's power. The rich build systems, not just savings. They create habits that last beyond their labor. They design structures, trusts, investments, businesses that continue to produce even when they're not around to oversee them. They don't just pass down money, they pass down wisdom. They understand that a well-fed family is good, but a well-taught family is better. You can give your children money and they'll spend it, but give them philosophy and they'll multiply it. When you mentor others, when you teach the principles that helped you grow, you create ripples that never fade. Maybe you start by mentoring a young entrepreneur. Maybe you write down the lessons that guided your journey. Those acts of contribution outlive every purchase you'll ever make. The joy of wealth isn't in having more, it's in becoming more, so you can give more. So as you grow your wealth, don't just focus on accumulation, focus on continuation. Ask yourself, what will my success mean after I'm gone? Will it die with your last paycheck, or will it breathe life into others? That's the question that separates those who are rich from those who leave richness behind. Because the truth is, money fades, markets change, economies shift, but impact endures. The car rusts, the house ages, but the seeds of wisdom you plant, the systems you build, the people you influence, they live on. So don't just build a lifestyle, build a legacy. One that keeps working, keeps growing, and keeps inspiring long after you've done your part. Be the architect, not the laborer. That's the shift that turns effort into empire. Most people spend their entire lives working tirelessly, giving their best hours and strongest years to building someone else's vision. They trade time for money and call it security, but in truth, they've built a cage with a paycheck. The wealthy see it differently. They start where everyone else does, with sweat and skill, but they don't stay there. They step back. They design, they build systems that eventually replace their presence. You see, the goal is not to work harder, it's to work once and let that work produce results again and again. When I first began my career, I was working from sunup to sundown, proud of my effort but blind to my limits. One evening, an older mentor told me, "You're doing a fine job. But remember this, you can't multiply labor, you can only multiply leverage." That sentence hit me like a lightning bolt. It made me realize that no matter how strong or smart you are, there are only 24 hours in a day. If you're the one doing all the work, your income, your freedom, and your impact all stop when you do. The rich understand that systems don't get tired. They don't call in sick. They don't take weekends off. Systems, whether digital, financial, or organizational, keep working when you don't. So the question is, are you just doing the work, or are you building the system that does it for you? Every time you repeat a task, ask yourself, can this be documented, delegated, or automated? That's how you begin to move from laborer to architect. In the early days of building any business, you wear many hats. You sell, you serve, you manage, you clean up. But if you stay in that mode forever, you'll burn out before you break through. The moment you document your process, you create a blueprint someone else can follow. And when you replace your daily grind with systems that perform those same actions automatically or through others, you create leverage. That's when growth stops being linear and starts being exponential. The wealthy spend more time thinking than doing. They design machines that multiply their effort, they hire people smarter than themselves in specialized areas, and they invest in tools that do the work faster and more accurately. They focus their energy not on repetition but on creation. Because motion isn't progress, only direction is. So step back from the noise. Look at your work not as a worker but as a builder of frameworks. Ask yourself, if I stopped today, would my income stop too? If the answer is yes, then it's time to redesign your structure. Freedom doesn't come from busyness. It comes from building a machine that works without you. The laborer builds walls. The architect builds legacies. Choose wisely which one you'll become. Let time be your silent partner. Most people underestimate the quiet power of time. They think wealth is built through bursts of effort, a lucky break, a hot deal, a quick win. But the truth is, wealth is rarely loud. It's quiet, consistent, and patient. Time is the great multiplier. It compounds your discipline or it compounds your neglect. You either use it or lose it. The difference between those who end up rich and those who end up wishing they had started earlier often comes down to one simple truth. The rich let time work for them while everyone else keeps working against it. When I was young, I used to think success was about intensity, how hard I could push, how much I could do in a short time. But as I grew, I realized that time is the most faithful business partner you'll ever have, if you treat it right. The problem is, most people don't partner with time, they fight it. They want results now, wealth now, success now. They chase shortcuts and forget that compounding needs one thing above all, patience. The wealthy understand that the moment you plant the seed is not the moment you eat the fruit. You have to let the process mature. You have to let time nurture your investments, your skills, your relationships. I remember when I first started investing small amounts, nothing impressive, just a few dollars set aside every month. At first, it looked insignificant, but over the years, that small discipline turned into something remarkable. Not because of what I added, but because of what time added. Time multiplies quietly. It rewards persistence and punishes hesitation. The rich never waste time trying to time the market. They focus on time in the market, staying consistent, staying invested, letting compounding perform its magic. You see, Compounding doesn't work if you keep interrupting it, pulling out your money, chasing the next opportunity, or giving up when growth seems slow. That's how most people sabotage their own wealth. But when you stay steady, when you reinvest every profit, when you let your money and your habits mature, time starts to work for you. Here's the real magic. Time compounds more than just money. It compounds knowledge, character, habits, and reputation. Every disciplined action builds on the one before it. And if you're consistent long enough, the results will seem effortless, but they're not. They're the visible proof of invisible patience. So start early, even if it's small. Don't wait for the perfect moment or the perfect amount. Just begin. Keep feeding your investments, your education, and your dreams daily. Let time do the heavy lifting while you stay consistent. Because time will either build your fortune or expose your procrastination, and it's your daily choices that decide which one it becomes. Wealth isn't built in a day, my friends, but it is built every day. Let time be your partner, and one day you'll look back in awe at what quiet patience can create. Solve problems, don't sell time. That's one of the greatest secrets of wealth. You see, most people spend their entire lives renting out their hours. They show up, clock in, clock out, and trade the most precious resource they have, time, for the least renewable one, money. But the marketplace doesn't reward effort. It rewards effectiveness. It doesn't care how long you work. It pays for what you solve. The people who get rich are not the ones who work the hardest, but the ones who think the sharpest. They see frustration and turn it into opportunity. Early in my career, I was paid by the hour. I thought that was fair, until I realized I was getting paid only when I was there. The moment I stopped working, my income stopped flowing. That's when I learned something powerful. If you stop working and the money stops too, you're not yet free. You're just well employed. The goal is not to sell more hours. It's to solve bigger problems. Because the bigger the problem you solve, the bigger the paycheck the world is willing to write. Think about it. Why do some people earn $10 an hour while others earn $10,000 in a single deal? It's not luck. It's leverage. One solves small problems, the other solves massive ones. The janitor keeps the floor clean, the entrepreneur keeps the company alive. Both work hard, but the marketplace pays by the size of the solution, not the size of the sweat. The wealthy train their minds to look for problems, not to complain about them, but to correct them. Every inconvenience in your life, every frustration you notice in others, is a hidden opportunity waiting to be solved. The world doesn't need more workers. It needs more problem solvers. You could start small, something as simple as creating a product that saves people time, a service that eases stress, or a system that makes life smoother. That's how fortunes begin, one frustration at a time. Once you've found a problem to solve, the next step is to build something that doesn't depend on your presence. Build systems, not schedules. Don't just work in your business, work on it. Design processes that can deliver the solution again and again, with or without you. That's how you scale your impact, and in turn, your income. In my journey, I found that the moment I shifted from trading hours to trading ideas, my wealth began to multiply. I stopped asking, how can I make more? And started asking, how can I help more? That question changes everything. Because when you focus on serving more people, solving more problems, and saving others time, money will chase you. So stop selling time, start selling transformation. Stop counting hours, start counting solutions. The world doesn't pay for your presence, it pays for your contribution. Find a problem, fix it once, and get paid for it forever. That's how you move from labor to leverage and from income to impact. Treat every dollar like an employee. That's how the rich think. You see, for most people, money is just something to spend, something that comes in and goes out as fast as it arrived. But for the wealthy, money isn't decoration, it's delegation. Each dollar has a job, a mission, and an expected performance. The moment you start seeing your money as employees working for your future, your financial destiny begins to change. Because if you don't put your dollars to work, they'll find someone else who will, and that person will be rich instead of you. I remember a time when I made just enough to get by. Every paycheck came in, and before the end of the week it was gone. Rent, food, bills, entertainment. I was working hard, but my money wasn't. It wasn't until a mentor told me, your dollars are your workers, and right now you're letting them sit idle in the break room. That line changed everything. I started to ask myself, where is my money going? What is it doing while I'm sleeping? And if the answer was nothing, I knew I had a lazy employee on my hands. Each dollar you earn should have an assignment. Some dollars should be working in growth, investing, compounding, multiplying. Some should be in protection, insurance, emergency funds, safe holdings. And yes, a few can go to enjoyment, because life isn't meant to be lived in scarcity. But here's the key. The majority must be working, not resting. Money is meant to circulate, not stagnate. Idle money loses value over time. Inflation eats it, temptation spends it, and inactivity wastes it. But money that's invested wisely, patiently, and consistently multiplies. Think of your money as a team. When you invest, you're promoting your dollars to managers. They bring in more recruits. When you spend wisely, you're assigning them to essential duties that maintain your lifestyle. And when you waste them, you're firing good workers before they've had a chance to grow. Wealthy people don't hoard money, they hire it. They deploy every dollar with intention. They know exactly where it goes, why it goes there, and what it's expected to bring back. Over time, those little workers start bringing friends home, dividends, interest, rent checks, royalties. Suddenly, your money starts producing more money, and your financial system runs on autopilot. That's the moment you realize wealth isn't built by effort alone, it's built by management. You're not just working for money anymore. Your money is working for you. So take a good look at your finances. If your dollars aren't busy building, they're busy disappearing. Give every dollar a purpose, track its performance, and reinvest the results. Fire lazy money and reward productive money. Build an army of dollars that never sleep, never complain, and never take a day off. Because when your money starts working harder than you do, that's when you've truly built wealth, not just income, but freedom. Wealth is built on boring routines. Most people don't like that truth because it doesn't sound glamorous. We live in a world that celebrates the dramatic, the sudden success, the viral story, the overnight millionaire. But the truth about wealth is much quieter. It's built in repetition, not revelation. The wealthy don't look for excitement, they look for consistency. They know that discipline is what compounds, not drama. It's the small, steady, faithful routines done every day, long after the excitement fades, that create financial greatness. When I was starting out, I thought wealth would feel thrilling. That one big deal, one lucky break, one spark would set everything in motion. But it didn't work that way. The real transformation came from the boring things, tracking expenses, saving a percentage every month, reviewing goals, adjusting investments. It wasn't glamorous, but it was powerful. I discovered that wealth doesn't arrive with fireworks. It sneaks in quietly while you're doing the same disciplined thing for the 100th time. The poor chase excitement because excitement feels like progress. It gives an illusion of movement. the thrill of a new opportunity, the rush of a gamble, the buzz of instant gratification. But the wealthy understand that excitement is temporary, and temporary emotions make terrible strategies. Wealth is not a sprint. It's a series of steps, predictable, repeatable, and intentional. When you can do the same small thing without boredom, you've mastered the foundation of success. Every rich person I've met has a financial routine. They review their net worth monthly, not because it changes drastically, but because that habit keeps them aware and accountable. They automate their savings and investments so emotion doesn't interfere. They pay themselves first, long before they pay for pleasures. They don't need to feel excited about the process because they trust the process. The results, not the rush, become their motivation. Think of it like planting a tree. You water it every day. It's repetitive, it's slow, it's uneventful. But years later, that tree gives you shade, fruit, and beauty. Most people quit watering because they can't see growth fast enough. The rich keep watering because they know growth is happening underground, invisible, but inevitable. The same applies to your finances. Every boring habit builds invisible momentum until one day it breaks through the surface. So don't underestimate the power of your routines. Review your finances regularly, automate your discipline, and stay faithful to the process. You may not feel the thrill of instant success, but one day you'll look back and realize your consistency created what excitement never could: stability, abundance, and freedom. Wealth was never meant to be exciting. It was meant to be earned through quiet persistence. Remember, excitement fades, but consistency compounds. And compounding, not excitement, is what builds empires. Wealth is rarely a solo journey. You can have great ideas, sharp discipline, and powerful goals, but if you walk the path alone, your growth will always be limited by your own reach. The wealthy understand this truth early. Money compounds with time, but influence compounds with people. Every connection, every relationship, every partnership is a form of leverage. And the right network doesn't just open doors, it builds entire new hallways. When I first started, I tried to do everything myself. I wanted control. I wanted the credit, the certainty, the satisfaction of saying, I built this on my own. But I learned that independence is only powerful until it becomes isolation. True growth began the moment I started surrounding myself with people who thought bigger than I did. They challenged me, questioned me, stretched me. That's when things started compounding, not just my income, but my mindset. You see, your network is a reflection of your financial thermostat. Spend your time around those who talk only about problems, and your world will shrink to fit their fears. But spend it with those who talk about possibilities, and your world expands to fit their vision. The poor compete because they think resources are scarce. The rich collaborate because they know that value multiplies when shared. When two people of value come together with humility and purpose, they both walk away richer even before a dollar is made. That's why the rich don't just network, they nurture networks. They attend seminars not for the content, but for the connections. They mentor others because teaching sharpens their own understanding. They seek mentors not just for knowledge, but for perspective. It's not about collecting contacts. It's about building meaningful alliances rooted in trust and mutual growth. You should aim to attend at least one growth event every quarter, not just to learn, but to meet people who are moving, people who have stories, scars, and strategies. When you mentor someone, you become accountable to your own principles. You can't teach discipline if you're not practicing it. And when you find a mentor, you gain access to wisdom without having to pay the full price of experience. That exchange is one of the most powerful compounding effects in life. I've seen people turn one connection into a chain of opportunities that change their destiny. One conversation leads to a partnership. That partnership leads to a business. That business leads to freedom. And it all starts with a decision to step out of isolation and into collaboration. So if you're building wealth, don't just count your dollars, count your allies. Invest time in people who inspire discipline, integrity, and ambition. Trade competition for collaboration, because synergy will always multiply faster than solo effort. Remember, money compounds through interest, but wealth compounds through relationships. One right person can be worth more than a decade of hard work if you build wisely and give generously. Most people think in terms of paychecks, what they can earn this week, what they can buy this month, how they can survive this year. But the rich, they think in terms of generations. They make decisions today that echo 50 years into the future. They understand that true wealth isn't measured by what you accumulate, but by what continues to grow long after you're gone. You see, legacy is not built in the bank. It's built in your philosophy, your systems, your principles, the things that outlive your presence and multiply your influence. When I was young and broke, I thought money was only about survival. Then I learned that money, when used with vision, becomes a bridge between generations. The rich plant trees under whose shade they may never sit. They don't just chase comfort for themselves, they design continuity for those who come after. They build habits their children can inherit, not just houses. They pass down systems, not just savings. Because without philosophy, even a fortune can disappear in one generation, but with it, even small beginnings can grow into empires. Think about this. Every dollar you spend, every decision you make, every risk you take is either building a story that ends with you or one that continues beyond you. That's why you must begin to think generationally. Don't just build income, build infrastructure. Don't just save money, save wisdom. Document your principles, how you invest, how you give, how you grow. Write them down, speak them, live them. Because the greatest inheritance you can leave isn't money, it's mindset. I often tell people, if you want to test your wisdom, teach it. Pass it to your children, your team, your community. Show them not just what to do with money, but why. When you do that, you transfer more than wealth, you transfer responsibility. And that's what the rich understand. Money without meaning is wasted potential. So build systems that protect and perpetuate your vision. Set up trusts, long-term investment vehicles, or automated giving programs that continue your impact even after you're gone. Design a plan that ensures your assets serve others with the same discipline you used to build them. This isn't about ego, it's about stewardship. You're not just managing money for your lifetime, you're guiding resources for generations yet unborn. And every day ask yourself, will this decision serve only me, or will it serve those after me? Because that question transforms how you spend, invest, and even how you live. It makes you careful with your time, purposeful with your money, and generous with your wisdom. Wealth, at its highest form, is not accumulation, it's continuation. It's the quiet satisfaction of knowing that your discipline today becomes someone else's freedom tomorrow, that your effort becomes their opportunity. And when you live with that perspective, every dollar becomes a seed, Every habit becomes a legacy, and every generation becomes richer, not just in wealth, but in wisdom. Most people stop learning the day they leave school. They hang their diploma on the wall and call it a finish line, when in truth, it's only the starting point. See, formal education can earn you a living, but self-education can earn you a fortune. The rich understand this simple truth. Your mind is the greatest asset you'll ever own, and it compounds faster than any investment if you feed it daily. The poor chase income, the wealthy chase insight. Because when your knowledge grows, your decisions improve, and wealth always follows wisdom. I remember when I first started my journey, I wasn't rich, but I was hungry. Not for money, but for ideas. I bought books I couldn't afford. I attended seminars that stretched my budget, and I listened to tapes until the message became part of my thinking. And I'll tell you this, the moment my mindset changed, my income had no choice but to follow. Because the world doesn't pay you for what you know, it pays you for what you apply. And you can't apply what you never learn. The secret is consistency. Feed your mind daily, not occasionally. Read 10 pages of a good book, not the news, not gossip, but books that build you. Because the direction of your life rarely changes overnight, it changes gradually through the quiet accumulation of new ideas. And one idea, applied with discipline, can change everything. Attend seminars, listen to mentors, sit in rooms where conversations stretch your thinking, because your environment shapes your elevation. When I was broke, someone once told me, if you want to change your income, change your input. That one line stayed with me forever. So I built a rule, never let a day pass without learning something new about money, mindset, or mastery. It might be 10 pages of a book, one lesson from a mentor, or even one principle from observation, but every day, something must enter the mind that strengthens it. Because ignorance is expensive, and education, real education, is the highest yield investment you'll ever make. We live in an age where knowledge is more accessible than ever before. You can learn from millionaires through podcasts, from thinkers through videos, from mentors through books. Yet, most people scroll instead of study, consume instead of create. Don't fall into that trap. The rich study, the poor escape. One grows, the other avoids. So I challenge you, create your personal curriculum for wealth. Read, reflect, and most importantly, apply. Take one principle a week and put it to work. Test it, measure it, master it. Because education without execution is just entertainment. And remember, money doesn't grow in the bank, it grows in the mind. The richer your thoughts, the richer your outcomes. So never stop learning, never stop growing, and never stop feeding the mind that feeds your fortune. The day you stop learning is the day you stop earning. Keep your mind open, and your future will stay limitless. Ladies and gentlemen, let me leave you with this truth. Wealth is not a gift. It is not luck. It is not the result of a single breakthrough or a moment of genius. Wealth is the product of consistent, deliberate action, the compound effect of small, wise decisions made over time. Every habit you form, every dollar you assign a purpose, every lesson you apply builds the foundation for freedom. Too many people chase fast money, chasing the illusion that wealth is a sprint. But the rich know the truth, it's a marathon, and the path is paved with patience, discipline, and clarity. Think about your first dollar, 100K, not as a finish line, but as your starting point. What you do with it defines whether it becomes $1 million or slips quietly away. Protect it, grow it, invest it, and above all, make it work harder than you do. Every dollar can be a soldier marching toward freedom. Every skill you master can become an asset, and every connection you cultivate can open doors to opportunity. Do not let your lifestyle lead your wealth. Let your wealth lead your lifestyle. The rich delay pleasure today so they can experience freedom tomorrow. But money alone is not enough. The mind that guides it must be sharp, disciplined, and ever learning. Commit to self-education every day. Feed your mind ideas that build you. Feed your habits principles that compound over time. Surround yourself with those who think in terms of growth and opportunity, because your circle will determine your limits and expand your vision. Build systems that work while you sleep. Automate your savings, your investments, and your learning. Create structures that multiply your impact and scale your freedom. And finally, remember that wealth is not truly wealth until it is shared. Teach others, mentor those who are eager, and build a legacy that outlives you. Accountability, service, and influence amplify your success beyond what money alone can achieve. So I challenge you today, do not just dream, do not just hope, take action. Protect your first $100K, make it grow, and let it pave the way to $1 million and beyond. Assign every dollar a purpose, invest in yourself daily, and take control of your financial destiny. The future you desire is waiting on the other side of the choices you make right now.